Hello, everyone. Since we didn't get a chance last time, if anybody has any questions about the verse, last week verse, or anything else, you can send to the chat.
네, 당보 상말라더니 참 지자시들 쇼기
And first, I want to I want to wish everyone Tashi Delight.
네, 니바디 드링 슈트인디 피제 네, 아버지 좋아들래. 가서 엄마 피제 투니스나라도 좋아들래 좋은 말에.
Oh, also okay. So, and then also, because the last 2 times or so, we didn't get to have a question and answer, so we will have some question and answer now. I took a lot.
코로나 상말라 즉 뒤나 당부로와 피제 네, 좋아요나 가서 엄마 기나서 제가 되게 맞은 것 같은데 중요나 드링 좋아들래 tun지 치잖아요. 보면 웨스 파티나.
Oh, so if any of you have questions that you weren't able to ask the last couple of sessions, then we can have a question and answer session today if you want to. Is that do you want to do that or not? You can write into the chat if you want to do that or not.
가르르지는 망 좋아지 몰라 주도 제가 말하고 이제 디버틀링 여러 말 뒤수지 근데 바로 대화 말아서 뒤 종마서 뒤수 통자 디버틀링 매바 차서 이 느낌 상말을 듣는 독바 남도라고 해나 이 드링디 디버틀링 그 가정 엄마가 좋아 가르요와도 상마 드링 트윈디 주지지 나올라 이 잘통나는 건 주마기 준자 거랑 주든지라 니 피지비정한테 잡아지시니 쇼로가 숨스도 냐볼라
Oh, Temadrinola.
Oh,
that's all. Because before we had so many we had long question and answer section at the end of each session, half an hour or so, and then eventually that question and answer session had kind of disappeared and we didn't do it as much. So today we can have 1 hour of question and answer, have the whole session be question and answer. And then since there's not much, have a whole hour of question and answer to answer any questions that you may have that you were not able to ask before. And then Tulku was saying he may, after this session, he may actually even finish the text during the next session, because there's only 3 verses left in the main part of the text. So please ask your questions in the chat.
don't worry, nobody can see your face. It's just right here. Oh yeah.
Okay. So first question. So this person looks after their 90-year-old mother and the brain injured brother, and sometimes they drive her crazy. She's tired and gets into the negativity of harsh speech, and the resentments and resentment. I have improved, but I can't seem to eliminate this. How can I do this? Can I swear? Kongi ama be kengo kubshu any churcho the because leba because kinshora leba la kinshora
Morangi Chungbo and a brother.
re any kongi tang chegi dos some tik
Tikzu Mambo
Shogajus and it Tigbasagi dos ne des yage chungsong yine yang chatang di mebaso tuki mes
and
it kandre chigo.
Oh, this the Jigdang Dick Suda Amara taking to what in Amara Mission Budget to you. I look after all PJ
Kongi amala
Amala down Chuchu. Nidagura me. One is who injured the brain, 190 years old mother. Some lawyer boys down Korang Moneji Tandagi Nedanjua Ama Kongro Chimbo Chitani Korang Pinja Jumbo in a Jimbo that Juju and brother Chijungi Suina. Any brain injuries on the Monek Habore and look Kebucha on the Misu in a thing around Rangshin, nature, the Indo Kapoyere, Consola, Chitato Chair, some understanding Monek Haboyres. And Titabogi brain injury you gained and some cola Simba and Tembata, Shishin. Yako meres medu de ko kanjo maju she nguraya tsup she yure tin korayina di soba goma to bachi samsam kane su shogire di korana jing nejo yama loge bu gemo cha ndo lo tu gupju se do yang mangje waji je lu ta sem peje wangbo nyamsabar Nyamsayandu Korala Lugi support Chitu Mare, Semki support and Chimitu, Teni Koranga Tapugudi Tato Chi, Koranga understand Chinamado, Ama Kalekabore, Lochembo Chasarwa, the Indo Tamsan Korangida Fixu the Shurgi Yona, Sikzubu, Koranga Tapa Shurna, Naran Samlota, Sikzub Shore de la Nakazinguma, Sikzub Kapsu Shemba. Long Yaboji Tony Tsup She, Shena Pento, Tsup Shena, the Tigir. Tilla Agdigir Sige Mare, Chanjusembagi, Namji, the Sanji, Digir soon useless. That the Maimba young Korangi Numumbo Wang, the negative Wang to song ne, to Jashada Demongaja Tado Wang to song ne, the Niji Tsup Shorvaina, and Dilla Ranasu Temba the Shishin Yiki. Pena temba se di yakbo dan dubu dila chigi majeba yakbo khare dubu khare dila majeba ha gogen dila temba se ro ani de dabo chigi temba korang yakbo ji sem chetni dine dende temba da sheshin la tene nyungro ta gor ma do mone jene drink cups baba ki ngarazo kyaslan drink chuden ji to Diliger, Burjum says it all. Penamdo, Kandiji Sharvana to judge the Mongaja Tado, Kola Gumshi, Gumshis and the habit, Sueyo Mares Namdo, Konala Hakoni, and Lamsan, Ko Hakoji de Pang, Namdo, Numo Pang to a tablet Jungures, and Kalega let Pangurmado as a Lamsa Pang to Mares, Mazula Gan and Sangoma, Mambu Baksha Shukchumbuchures.
So it's just the nature of us as humans that this happens when we get sick or get old, that it becomes very difficult to live, and it becomes difficult for people to care for us. And as for your brother, because he has this problem with his brain, then he can't necessarily control how he acts, and he can't control how he speaks and so on. And so it will inevitably happen that there will be that we will run into problems and may exchange harsh words and so on. And as far as the as far as your own harsh words, if you have falling into the habit of using harsh words, as Tukula explained last time, if it's for the benefit of the other person, then it's taught by the Buddha and by the other masters and so on that it's okay to use harsh words if you really have a pure motivation to benefit others. But as soon as you're using harsh words through the afflictions, the negative emotions, if you're motivated by desire, anger, or ignorance, then this is what we should avoid, should not use harsh words in that way. And as also, it's impossible to immediately get rid of these habits all at once. You have to do it very slowly. So you have to be patient with yourself and not expect yourself to be able to eliminate these habits all at once. But on the other hand, we shouldn't become accustomed to the afflictions, negative emotions, and we shouldn't become accustomed to using harsh words and make a habit out of it, which is what the next verse coming up is about. The way that we have to practice with that is to use a mindfulness and a conscientiousness. They usually translate as mindfulness, and this conscientiousness, or the conscientiousness is a kind of awareness of what you're doing. And as soon as you, so mindfulness basically refers to having the awareness of what is good and what is bad, and what you should do and what you should not do. So if you can cultivate that awareness, that mindfulness of what is good and bad, and what you should avoid and what you should try to put into practice, then just as it's talking about in the next verse, as soon as those afflictions or the kleshas arise, then you will be aware of that and then let it go and not indulge in it. And similarly with the harsh words, you will, as soon as you find yourself about to say harsh word, you will be aware of it and then stop yourself. But again, it takes time over slowly over time to change the habits. But this is a general way to do it.
지다 말하는 얘기 남시지다 얘기 남시에서 남자 쪽에 나다 말한도 또 단다 템바 시신이디 이기 넘버 셔봐 이기 남시디 아 go like a door 아니 템바 템바 시신이디 gatekeeper like your garden on the door always watching 템바 세두자니 마제바 템바 약보다 독자니 마제바 따통이 watchman like watchman 시신세디 디하고니 ini dila ji langdor machi ba ta langai na lang tore na dor ta shini chi tene chini de jo tin ko khale chigzu branching ko nimare la ko watch chi de ro ani nimare la nyong ta ne ti nimachi ngara ju bet ko zawa ne me so to kres khale chi
so if we think about the factors of our mind or the aspects of our mind, we have a mental consciousness, which is basically you can think of as your mind in general, you know, what it's basically the mental consciousness, kind of just the mind in a general sense, the mind that will perceive different things and have emotions and feelings and thoughts and so on. So that mental consciousness, that mind is compared to a door. You can compare it to a door or a gate. And then the aspects of mindfulness and conscientiousness, these two are like the guards or the watchmen at the door of the mind.
Or you can put, I'm sorry, the tempa the shishi ni the watchman gi lakcha chencha.
Okay.
Or he holds another gun or something to protect.
Okay, so then and then Tulku is now kind of refining the analogy. So the factors or the aspects of mindfulness and conscientiousness are like the weapons that are held by the watchman, by the guard. And then, so what you have to do is you put in place that guard with those weapons at the gateway of the mind. So on the one hand, we have mindfulness, which is the understanding, the awareness of what we should do and what we should not do. And then on the other hand, there's this factor of conscientiousness, which is basically the factor that is aware of what you are doing. As soon as you begin to speak harsh words or something of that sort, the conscientiousness is the factor that is aware of what you're doing at that time. So if we can set up our mind in this way and approach our mind in this way and our conduct in this way, with the door, considering the mind as the door, and then the watchman with mindfulness and conscientiousness, then over time, every day, we can practice noticing what we're doing and to give up the things that we shouldn't do and take up the things that we should do, using those factors. And over time, every day, we practice more and more, and we will slowly be able to reduce all of those things, afflictions and the harsh speech in this case, and so on. And then eventually it is possible to completely give up those things. in this way.
What shall we do if some of our Vajra siblings clearly intend to harm us, try to make us sick or oh, this is very dangerous. I don't think we can have some kind of Vajra sibling that I wouldn't call Vajra sibling. That call maybe something else.
Yeah.
What shall we do if some our Vajra siblings? Do you think Vajra sibling can harm and make you sick or even die? That I don't think is called Vajra sibling. That is called Vajra enemy. Oh, it's I just joking. Korang ke labna da pije ngarazo cheto ra cheto ki kogi kulong ngimbe thone dene shen la ne ba che da shen la ne ba sue da o de nyanga chawra ta ende ta di Bajra siblings do ta ende thambo ha ngarazo Bajra siblings e di khande chig res na rang ha ko kores di ha magona da Bajra sibling changma chu shuze wang shuze ani nyambolo drose changma da Bajra sibling inju mare thambo rangi Bajra siblings e di borderline or meaning or what is means of Bajra sibling di rangi ha ko kores thambo dila ta thambo dila Bajra sibling yakbo ha ko chana ta peje niba dila Bajra sibling se dela yang jumse ni gi goni yongse gi chik Bajra sibling yimbi ngoni yang nyamne ya bo megen chue ya bo samlo tang mission gi ji ina te Bajra sibling dige yang azon ne kya sigires misi pamare ngarazo chige mire ro ko wa chamde ignorance re ne chi yang ngaja yore tende bacha sigires chikne Bajra sibling niwa dila Bajra sibling se de dorje chetok chemo se de konde yuni jag mar harsan khola understanding oh ngagi chetok re ngagi ta dorje thekbe chigbu mare thekba chembo yini sungde chetok chemo chigbu maimba simji yongla ya ne se jag mare kogi ya intention ge hama chigbu mare intention ge ko neba ya sugi mare intention khola ngone se gi mare ko dorje thekba chigbu marda thekba chembo do thekbaji inaya dende chigi res niba dela ko chimisi barata gaze misiba no kya misiba res niba del tangbo dela sinaya ko chwemishin ignoring ichini ta tos chi korang ngaja chero ignorance nga jal che tene ji yang shedang chembo la tene teko sim yakboji manin maneba not stable that's why can be harm the gimzini do sirwa the gimzini gi nang ni dorji chero di chemo di khandi ji ina de nga ta shira chi lab shesa mare to thangbo rang kherang thuwa dangi mi dige Bajra sibling se di ngazo ne chedok ser di ha ko res
Karimba. So the question is, what shall we do if some of our Vajra siblings clearly intend to harm us, try to make us sick, or even to die? And so Tulku is saying that, first of all, we have to understand what a Vajra sibling actually is. What is the definition, or what actually makes a true Vajra sibling? It's not, Vajra sibling doesn't necessarily refer to anyone that you sit in the empowerment together with or receive some teachings together with. So first you have to, this is the most important thing, is first for this person who's asking the question or anybody else who's interested, wants to know about this issue is first, what is the Vajra sibling? How do we define that? And then there's and then going further with it, on the one hand, there could be possible that we do have a Vajra sibling who is a genuine Vajra sibling and means well and so on, but they
Vajra sibling looks like humming.
We could have a Vajra sibling that is genuine, but just because we are all living in a samsara and we are sentient beings, it can happen to anybody that they will cause harm just because of the nature of our situation as sentient beings. So even a genuine Vajra sibling who's well-meaning and so on, they have afflictive emotions like everyone else, and they may get proud or angry and may cause harm to us. And then secondly, for practitioners of Buddhism, but not only Vajrayana, but even as soon as you start to practice just the Mahayana, if you're really practicing the Mahayana, then it's not possible that you will really go out of your way to harm other sentient beings, including your colleagues, colleagues on the path, because we have the practice of bodhicitta and of non-violence, not harming others, and so on. So this actually would not, a kind of like a sustained or intentional, really maliciousness and harming of others just would not happen, because if we are really practicing the Dharma. But Tukula is saying the most important is that to understand what is the Vajra sibling, because it seems it's not necessarily clear from the question, because if somebody is truly Vajra sibling, they would not ever try to kill you or make you sick and so on.
Yeah. Vajra sibling, in the Vajrayana point of view, the Vajra sibling not only talking about the Mahayana point of view, Vajrayana point of view is actually when you have to see peer perception towards to the your Vajra siblings. Let's say your friend, the body as the deity. Your friend's speech is the mantra or the deity's speech. And your Vajra sibling mind, you have to see as not mind, you have to see as wisdom. That's why they call Vajra sibling. Vajra means body Vajra, speech Vajra, mind Vajra. You have to able to perceive your colleague, body, speech, mind. It doesn't matter the Vajra is the sibling, your colleague, your Dharma friends. Even they make mistake. Maybe they won't see you, perceive as you as a Vajra mind, Vajra speech, Vajra body. But as yourself, as a Vajrayana practitioner, you must perceive them as a Vajra body, Vajra speech, Vajra mind. And that is we call Vajra sibling. Actually, if you maintain that kind of a practice, perception, then I think the friend, whatever they do harm you, you won't be affected, but you will gain more peer perception than the Vajra sibling. Because that Vajra sibling may not have the capacity and ability to understand or to see or perceive Vajra, you as a Vajra speech and body mind, therefore they harm you, therefore they make you sick, or even they may make you die. But I think it depends on our individual, for my understanding. Therefore, how much you react to their intention, or sometimes their intention we may not see, because the intention very difficult to see. At least Bodhisattva Buddha can see. Therefore, intention I don't know, but then the reaction physically, then we may see their reaction or their behaviors, their activities, of their speech, how they talk, how they behave, act like body. There we can judge, but sometimes it's 100% we cannot judge that is their intention to do. Therefore, 50% we can judge, but 50% we have no clear understood, or maybe we don't know. Therefore, I think it depends on ourselves first, and in general, actually, Vajra sibling, if really Vajra sibling who understood Vajrayana, I don't think they intently or they do as externally like behavior, they will do this both. I don't think so. You won't do, 100% won't do. Even text says, unless they are like who gain like tilo naro, maybe looks like they are harming, they killing like fish, eating like looks like, but their intention is not like that. Therefore, they are already fully enlightened. They can able to make other animals to enlightenment. Therefore, exactly is difficult to judge. But if your mind is pure, then I think should be okay. Okay.
Rampa Tingamandi Bayapachung Song.
Oh, last
I'm a Genko.
one.
Yeah, Kung Baby. Sorry. And recently, I have the feeling that I accept that everything is okay. Before, when my friend gets hurt, I get hurt too. I talk a lot, no change them, but not really war. Now I don't feel hurt for them. I think that's their karma. Maybe they need pain to learn something and then understand more about samsara. And I should stop from my attachment to them instead of spending time to try to change them. I keep quiet and concentrate in praying to change myself. I wonder if my thing is right according to Dharma. So the person is asking that recently they've become more able to accept when things happen. If the people around them get hurt and go through different problems, they're now able to accept that more easily. And before, when their friend went through problems, got hurt, then they also would get involved in that and feel bad and get involved in the problems and so on. And then, so they're saying, they think that now, their approach is that they think when somebody around them goes through some problem, they think it's they understand that this problem comes from that person's karma, and so they don't get as caught up in it.
Mm-hmm.
And how it's just a process of samsara. And they try to release their attachment to those people. And then they start they're now not trying to change the people around them anymore to make them different, but rather they keep to themselves and pray and try to practice Dharma to change themselves. This person is saying, instead of trying to change the other people around them, they're now just keeping to themselves, trying to change themselves. And then he's asking, is this the right way according to the Dharma?
Okay. There's one word, there are no real failure in life, only results. Okay, what he says, I think sometimes you have to learn within yourself. let them to learn rather than we try to fix it. Sometimes we too much try to fix or try to understand or try to. I think they should understand. That's why I say there is no failure life is result. There is no true tragedy. Okay, only lesson.
Great.
Okay. And there really are no problem, only opportunity. Okay. This I think talking about no one to other person, you must individually should understand. Then I think you will learn more from your own mistake, more from your problem, more from your tragedy. You will learn if you understand personal, individually. And there's no problem. It's like more like opportunity, right? But let's say I say, don't worry, your problem is the opportunity. Oh, I don't think so. Like, people will reject you. But this is I just sharing. Okay, what he say, he or she, the question, I think seems like no question. It's like more like some of his experience sharing, and I think is right according to Dharma. Dharma said in should say the 탑 개바 상기 좀는데 탑제 tukje 세지도 tukje 탑제 tukje 샤게 릭스 총세다 상기 좀는데 탑 개바 tuk체에서도 잔네 셈바 상보 tuk자침보 심지 다음지기 제도 랑지부 많이 받다더니 보란 게 순간 탑 망보 지도와 고 미셴바들 주와 당의 제도 아니 셈바 상보래 탑 망보 때문에 셈바의 상보 통니 아니 콜롱 상보 그 통니 심발라다 지 펜토그레 삼네더니 공게 지가 미셴바들 주와 당의 제도 니지 공기 다 망보 땐도 좋아 아니 다 단다 그런 용으로 차도 세라 미신바디
네 미샴발라 그거 당기 메스 단다
가르잖아 건조 또 용으로 차도 나라 this they doing little bit less
공기 미샴방을 장에서 말해 건서 공기
그런 거 observe 그런 거
샴바 땅에
let go yeah now understand clear yes 다 딩이 탑지 투지 샤게 그숨 tomba 그 숨만나시 잔주게 세면 고레스로 신라 펜도에 아니 냠볼라 다니 코나 숨만나시 let go is very important let go machina kirangla khan kyen yongurse나 hope yongur fear yongur the endo kirang 숨만나 덴바레스 samsam let go samsam 양자 탑시 진에 신발라 kulongya 보지키니 신라 펜토에기 지금 가리 톱톱 랑은 지동나 야고레스 양 참삼라 양 레고 마치나테니 호흡단 피에니 레고레스 네 디그레스 다르마레스
So Etugula saying that in this kind of situation when we may want to try to help others with their problems or work to try to change them or show them a different way of doing things. This is has to do with the fundamental practice of Buddhism of skillful means and compassion, as the verse talks about Shakyamuni, the Buddha who has skillful means and great compassion was born into the lineage of the Shakyas. That's a verse describing Shakyamuni like that. And so what that means is that we use various methods and means as part of the skillful means, and then for the compassion, it means that we have a a good motivation and a pure heart to try to help others, and a vast kind of outlook to try to help others. So this is how we should try to deal with our relations with others and help others. But then on the other hand, this person is saying that they have now stopped trying to change others so much, and they're trying to just let go and so on. And Tulku is saying this is actually also this is a good thing to practice according to Dharma. This is actually living in this way is actually living according to Dharma, to sometimes to let go of things going on around you and things going on with the people around you. Because sometimes if we don't let go of what's going on with other people, then we will get caught up in the hope and the fear, and these will bring us a lot of suffering and so on. So to answer the question, it is actually right according to the Dharma to let go, but sometimes you can also intervene with people's problems and try to help them. Di kato la ragli di netang lo ragli.
Ore netang la ragli. Yes. Korang tab kewa se di mila pento ji khatu ina ngarang zo lapja gyap de dan khalak de di chibula ganso gore tab di chibu ge sangge gi chore se na mare sangge gi chode tab mesa gi gyachim bores ina yang pajo gi gansa korang la goko se na goya kharidu needs that important. Not what you doing is important. What they need is important. Need kharidu dila tene sangye ki thap chue mangbo re di main di tengo. Pena kirang shemba mi di go nagi yo na. If he is a headache, you cannot give you leg pain medicine. You know, you cannot give like a leg medicine. If somebody is leg pain, then kirang go me pendo kuma. Nasu kol pengi me. Ko go na digir chikang ba na digir. Me lokbatana digi maro di maimba pajola khari god goya khari du dila taptene nga di shege sangye disung bak sa samate jana digi marko kansa capacity understanding khakaro di indu khola khari god tap kheba jini nyunyu te khale jinte te sawe jela range anteni dila shemba chakpa shira machi rewa machi redok machi wachina tini kale rangla phengire rangla shemba maumba la shemba la phen thoye ge rangla nyuba ya degires tare chila redo mero me undu kone semba sambo gu thoni ke phen chita go theni ke chushi re yana chigi re slapse chigi ra tindo deni jona phengires.
So it all depends on the situation, different situation, whether we should just leave it alone, leave the person alone, or try to help them. Because the Dharma and the teachings of the Buddha are extremely profound and vast. It's not the case that whenever there's any kind of problem with someone, what you do is just say, okay, here's the advice, you should do this, this, and that. And then maybe if you need some material things, give them the material thing. It's not so simple. We can approach other people's problems in such a simple way. And the most important thing is to truly understand what the person actually needs, and not just what we want to give them or what we think may help them because of our own view. We have to think of what they actually need and what they would actually benefit from. So, for example, if somebody has a headache and it won't help if we have medicine for leg pain and give them medicine for leg pain when they have a headache, because it's not appropriate for their illness. We have to go according to what that person will need. So we need to use the skillful means and to be very develop the skill to deal with other people and to deal with their problems, and understand when we should not do anything and when we should do something. And sometimes we should only do a very small amount, very slowly here and there, give them a little bit, and then slowly give a little bit of help in a skillful way, and then slowly they will improve. Things will improve for them. And oh yeah, and then in addition, when we try to help people using skillful means in this way, we should immediately release our kind of attachment or clinging to the problem and to trying to help the person, and to give up our hope that we have to help this person and have to achieve something with them. This is very important, as this person has actually already mentioned. They're trying to do that. This is the way to approach helping others, is to give up your own hopes for it, not have a hope from your side, and also not have the kind of clinging to try to solve the problem. And if you're able to give up that hope and give up the clinging to it, then on the one hand, you will be able to help them better, and then the other hand, your ability to help others will be increased because your mind is on that kind of level that's more free of hope and clinging. So you will have more ability and more capacity to help as well.
Okay.
Okay, Shamba Mindu.
Oh, coming. Oh no. Mindu. More question.
Oh wait, hold on. There's another one. Oh, there's the D. Okay, here's another question. Okay. So this question says, when I see another being suffer, I feel their suffering, and this is unpleasant. I wonder how this squares with the line about all suffering being from craving their own happiness. Die Kongersena, die Semshin Shemba, die Dungon Yanga, Tom Mikabla, Ngayang Gagimedus, yeah, and die Kandreyana, the temperature boogie trigonality, Kersena, Kersungasena, Dungel Tamje. Rangi Chezemba Rangi Deva double the Chunga race Sungidua. Any D Kandreyana Pasher Midi Semchin Shampa Dungal Nyonghen di Tongdu Krong Dungal Nyongi race. Nidi Kandreyana di Dungal Tamche Di Mare Dungal Tamche Rangi David Lechungoyana Candes Mishamba
Dubigi Dewagi
Re Ngarangi David Dubele
David Dubele Ditere Chuna Sungera.
Yeah, any Shamba Dungal Tongdu, not Dungal Nongidus, the Tungimenus, the Tempergi.
When I see another being suffer, I feel their sufferings, and this is unpleasant. I wonder how this squares with the line about all suffering being from curbing their own happiness.
How this squares means the condition to be
own happiness. Do rangi deva ki chit deva dugi na di tunga yungure la ra rang deva shakda samratang na di tunga chungure la ra rang du rangdu dele dunga chung se re rangi deba le ten dunga chung so da ngai ho chidang di mi shemba da dele ende re yang peja mangbo na la sung res ningje dang ta de cha se ora de ba norde yeser ningje dang deba de norde resere ta ina inji ki tang ki western culture la ningje ke warche bala deba gore sikda desire right ningje ki she the desire to do emotion need that otherwise you wouldn't be how to say able to compassion to others but that I heard before the indu ta kongnam gi thwa dang na de daw cha ta endere ningje dan de ba norde yes ta di kirang gi gang la ningje la gore ki de ba la gore ha go me du ningje sen nan dig mi du gar sen shemba mi ji dunga nyang de na kirang ya de ne set di ningje mare and ningje na semjen la pento gi pento to ba gi nuba 아니 지고레 디메레 가르스는 셴바지 무이데나 키라무 셴바지 라한도 키라란데 샤주르디 펜토고 마레스 딩잉제 마레 테코랑기 라완나신 셴바 사브링치나 unpleasant definitely 레 이나야 추치겐 잔주 셴바 라우지 이나 unpleasant 당보 unpleasant 용그레 second they understand understand ngure nibala o ninje ko devadi ko dunga di khandi yu khare dunga khare ji nyongure samlo ji ngure ten samlo je ta yong do khola nga ta di dunga le pha dhaldu dhale ge thap khare yak ge du nga samlo tang thu gure ta khol khare chi go sare samlo tang thu gure gyumsen khare jin ko suffering cha re nga samlo tang thu gure teni di gyumsen dilate ne ko dende dunga nyongdu nga ngarang thanda dunga me gyumsen dilate ne nga dunga me ngarang gyumsen dilate ne nga dunga mindu ta nga magi kola help machina su gi help chigire teni khrang la poaji gi ta di po ningje di ko nyomomba dege ma nyomomba mindu nyomomba mindu but inside has nyomomba maybe or khrang la sherab jitu understanding then plus ningje based on understanding the ni gi chine khrang middle help chitu gres otherwise no you cry together and run away together you cannot solve cannot help dire tangbudi koran ke je ni batene
okay. So the question is, when I see another being suffer, I feel they're suffering and this is unpleasant. I wonder how this squares with the line about all suffering being from craving their own happiness. So how is it that this person suffers when they seeing somebody else suffer if it is true that all suffering comes from wanting your own happiness? Doesn't seem to make sense. So Tugula is saying we need to is it possible to mistake a compassion with a desire? And then some people in the modern culture, the Western culture, they may say that you need a desire in order to have compassion. but this is not the case according to the Buddhist view. We need to distinguish between desire and compassion. And it's easy to mistake the two. Sometimes you may think that the desire is actually compassion, but it's actually not compassion. So here, actually, this in this kind of situation, when you are finding suffering of another being unpleasant, it's not really true compassion. So this is the problem there, is that you're mistaking this feeling bad or feeling unpleasant for the true compassion. So the Bodhisattva, when they see somebody suffering, they may get this unpleasant feeling at first, and feel suffering at first, but then right away they will gain an understanding of why that person is why that other being is suffering. So, and as soon as they get that understanding, then they will be able to understand how to help the other being. They will understand where does that suffering come from, what is the cause of this being suffering, and for their own part, they don't get caught up in their own suffering. And because as soon as they get caught up in their own suffering, they won't be able to do anything to help the other person. It will be won't be helpful. So they have the understanding of the other person suffering, and at the same time they themselves is not getting caught up in the suffering, and then because of that they have the ability to help the other person or the other being. So this Bodhisattva, when they're dealing with the suffering beings, they have this state of mind of understanding of the situation, and within that state of mind there's no afflictions. They have no afflictions for their own part, and at the same time that they have no afflictions, they also have a wisdom that they can understand how to help the other being. So so this is the situation here, is that if you have the kind of true compassion, then you won't just get caught up in the suffering of the other and start beginning to suffer yourself, because you won't be able to help them in any case. That's the answer to that.
네. Sherab gitsi sini teni ko unpleasant yung mare. When somebody is shimbagi suffering thongna unpleasant yung mare. Unpleasant sana is more like a negative, more like based on your own concept of nyomomba. Like teni ko thongge. The Induzani Ningji Mone Sherab Dan Dembi Ningji Digi Tayongdu unpleasant humor. Unpleasant is more like negative. Yeah, the suffering is negative. But rather than the negative, you avoid, you run away, but you can help. It's based on understanding their suffering. You won't be run. Means cannot train Rugu Mares. Cannot train Mandro Wachini, Kerangi, Pa Midila, problem solved down, suffering Pa Mewa Sueki, Tabla Zunguris, Tab the Ningjiro, Ningjingone Majub, Joma Maimba, Ningji Dilla, Koran Dimi Dilla, Ningji Dilla, no agenda. No agenda Ningji Kigires. Kazikola Nyomo than Deva Dena, agent Ningji Kigires. And the Ningji de Yabumares. With the agenda Ningji is Yabumar. Without the agenda Ningji the Yabur. And then Kerangla unpleasant Semba Mindu. With the agenda, you feel unpleasant. Without the agenda Ningji, you have no pleasant feeling when you somebody you see suffering?
So if you have a true understanding and a wisdom as regards another sentient being that is suffering, then because of that wisdom and understanding of the situation, then you won't actually have this unpleasant feeling on your own part. And then you'll be able to help the other being. As soon as you have this kind of unpleasant feeling on your own part, it means there's something mixed up with the afflictions in your own mind. There's some kind of negativity there on your own mind. And then you can't really help. So, so the way to do it is to have an understanding and the wisdom about the situation, and then use the skillful means to help the other being. Skillful means in this case maybe compassion. Use the aspect of compassion or skillful means. Otherwise, you want to leave the situation, try to get away from that person. If you find it unpleasant and you have this kind of suffering with yourself, then you will just want to leave and you won't be able to deal with it properly. But if you have this wisdom and true understanding, then you won't want to get away from that person, and you will be able to help them. And so if you have a really pure compassion together with the wisdom, then you will not get this feeling of unpleasantness and suffering on your own part. And the important part of this is that your compassion has to have no agenda. You have to have no self-interest in your compassion and in helping the other persons. When you have some kind of agenda or self-interest in helping the other being, then this is when you get this feeling of unpleasant, you can get this feeling of unpleasantness. So the compassion, so this is the most important thing, is to have the compassion for the other being without any self-interest and without your own agenda.
Okay, the Wagla, I wonder how this is square with the line about all suffering being from carving their own happiness. Re chidang gita korwaki dungadi rangi dewa deba lateni chungu yures tembares sanji gisungures.
So then this end of the question says, yeah, how does this square with the line from the Buddhism about suffering being from craving our own happiness? So Tukula is saying, generally this is true. This was taught by the Buddha, that suffering comes about due to going after your own happiness. But this is more taught in the Mahayana.
Dagi dewa changma le tang rang chebar zimba pa le tang ne shen chebar zimba di dewa thamje ganani dewa chok jurba deres togu yores di jidu thekwa chimbo ngona ta di sungu yores dagde dele tunga thamje jungs.
So yeah, this is taught in the Mahayana, and it is taught that when we give up our cherishing to ourselves and our cherishing of our own personal happiness, and instead cherish the happiness of others and work for the happiness of others, then is through this that we actually attain the supreme happiness, the highest happiness possible. So this is what is taught in the Mahayana, that all suffering comes about due to desiring your own happiness.
팔와 랑 찍고 동아 세대기 동아래 달들기 로징구레 아니 대화 토백이 로징구레 양세 코로와 델레파 타르드기 로직 당 동아 델레 타르드 대화 톱드 라나서 로징구레 디 딜로 크랑 라테니 디보야 라나서기 직톱그레스 तति देवा मेवा मारे तुम्हारे देवा योर देवा रंग नेकअप की देवा दे योर ऐसा खोरवा की देवा जिदो खलासा नहीं किबू going a holiday was very nice happy तति देवा दे देवा देवा रे देवा मारे मारी ना देवा दी केंजी दी देवा चुंचुं जरेस देवा पैत कोरंग पे न्यू few seconds or few minutes after that impermanent can change देवा मारे से यो मारेस देवा रे.
So then when we look at the way that people operate in the world, generally people want to have some happiness within their lives, and they want to avoid suffering within their lives, and they will do various things to bring about those results. To try, they will work and try to gain some kind of happiness, and they will do various things to try to avoid suffering within this life. And then beyond that, people will try to attain freedom from all of the suffering of samsara and a state of liberation, and happiness of a state of liberation, and they will do these various practices to attain that state. And when people are going after these goals, they do actually attain some degree of happiness. It's not that there's no happiness at all in that. They will be able to have a good time, enjoy themselves, and to be happy to a certain extent. But the thing is that the happiness that is attained through this approach is very limited. It will last a very short time, and then it will be completely finished, and there will be nothing left for it, just because it's impermanent. So there is some kind of happiness to be gained in this way, but it's not really true happiness, and it doesn't last at all.
Yeah, Dini, Shimba?
Shimba is a man. No. Any other questions, please ask. Send to the chat.
Maybe one or two.
One or two more questions.
Time is
finish. If you have any other question, please send to the chat. Di mi shambaki konsola tango.
Oh, last tani yuji mare tani. Whoever in the now here, if you have any questions, you can ask. Then mena nga samshagins.
Okay. So if there's no question, then we will just stop here for today.
Okay. I don't know how much the answer is clear, but you can ask other teachers and as well. Make sure Buddhism, there's a very vast, actually very good to ask all the whatever in your mind, because right now we are not really like how to say uh, is the time going like confidently practicing, but to able to make confident you have to ask a lot of questions. Actually question is the best to how to say solve your own confusion. Without a confusion asking question, I think not possible to solve just listening teaching. Therefore please ask more questions. And also whenever some teachers give you some answers, you try at home and analyze more about the what teacher says or somebody says, and then it makes sense or not, you check. But you cannot just how to say keep oh the teacher says that, okay, okay, that's good, makes okay. But not only that, you should try more, analyze. When you analyze more, because you can sharper your the wisdom, therefore you will see, find the answer within yourself. Okay, so then I will do the dedication. So nam de tam je zikba ni tam ne nyen ben dana bam je ne ke ga na je ba la chu ba yi si ve so le do an do wa ra shu chang ju sin ju ren bo che ma je ban ke ba nyam ba me ba yang go ne gong du da wa ra shu tam ba ji ne kham so jam ba da tam ba ni ve shin do ten zen ben lo da yin ge ba ye tam ba yu re ne be da ji